Hey, I'm John G.
Hey, I'm Craig B. Let's conversate. All right. I can't remember whose turn it was, but I'll let you do the honors.
Okay. Yeah, I have no problem.
There is a ton in there. So,
All right.
See, just again, just so you know, we're not making it up. This hat is almost full. Oops. So, what did we get?
Moving on with weather.
I feel like we just discussed that one.
I feel like we did. Yeah. We can touch on it a little bit though, on a different aspect, not trying to make rain and all that stuff that we just talked about. But
yeah,
I've always been a huge weather nut.
Well, yeah, because you kind of have a passion for storm chasing.
Yeah, like storm chasing's phenomenal, but I also drive a truck that I have to make payments on, so I'm not that crazy that I drive into the storm.
Right.
But no, like the Reed Timmers of the world and all those people, as crazy as Reed gets every once in a while, like he dives into the passion of actually getting into these storms that I've always wanted to do.
Right.
Me and my brother actually looked at trying to contact some people.
Was that David or Bobby?
David.
Okay.
In like the West Texas-ish area or so that storm chase and trying to ride along
right.
At one point. We've taken classes on identifying different types of weather and things like that. But yeah, like severe weather is as scary as it can be. It's
right.
Something of the like raw power of it is just mesmerizing to me.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things about kind of living in the area that we live in is, right, like we get to experience those like 4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Like not to the extent like New England does, where they get those big nor'easters that come in there and drop 52 feet of snow.
Yeah.
Right. Although we have had that.
We have not 52 feet.
Not 52 feet, but 12 or 13.
Yep.
And for us, especially here in the desert Southwest, right? A lot of the stuff that we get, if it's snow, anything above a couple inches, and there's traffic accidents all over the place.
Everybody's shutting down.
Yeah, and people don't. We get snow days for a reason, right? We're back east where you guys get a lot of that snow. It's just it's another.
You've
Tuesday.
already got you've had your chains on for 6 weeks or however you do it up there.
They have the infrastructure to deal with it a whole lot more than we do down here. Now that changed a little bit after Goliath hit.
It did. They don't mess around with prepping for weather anymore.
No, they don't.
Like Goliath shut down completely everything. Food trucks weren't getting in. Like, it's the barest I've ever seen shelves.
Right. What was also crazy too was just because of where I was living at the time, right? Like people said, "Oh no, everything north of town was fine," but then you get into town and like that whole section just got absolutely hammered.
Well, like I remember telling my boss, because my boss used to go up to like Durango or Farmington or something. Like they had family or they had a cabin up there or something, but it seemed like him and his extended family would always go up there. And like I remember after that, like, hey man, I'm not going to be able to open the store while you're out. Like, we can't get to work. Oh, it's not that bad. Well, then like they finally started heading down, and sure enough, like
the further south,
like right outside of town, it was just.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, this is a mess.
Yeah. My wife had to kind of deal with the same thing because she was working for, I'm not going to name the company, but she worked
a loan place.
Yeah, it was a loan place, and her boss was over in West Texas where they didn't get hit with near the same thing, and basically just said, you need to get to work and you need to be there from this time to this time, and finally she's on the phone. And I said it loud enough. I said, I am not taking you to work because it is a civil emergency in our community to not be on the roads.
Yeah, like they were having the National Guard was having to try to pick up dialysis patients and stuff like that to get them to dialysis appointments.
And the police were having to use the National Guard Humvees to get around. Yeah,
was getting stuck.
Yeah.
Like their big old deuce-and-a-half trucks or whatever.
The big old Hummers that they had,
they were getting stuck as well. And like, that's, I don't know.
And see, and that's at least as long as I've lived there, right? Like that's the second time that they've been hit with a storm that brought in a significant amount of snow.
Yeah.
The first time was, I think that was the mid to late 90s.
I was gonna say
It
we had
happened.
gotten a couple feet whenever I was young.
Yeah,
Like,
because and I remember because Nadine and I again we hadn't been together too terribly long, but we lived not that far from the in-laws.
yeah,
And we ended up losing power, and he ended up bringing his father-in-law James ended up bringing a generator to the house, and we fortunately were able to have power. Now what we had to do is put sheets up on the doors because we couldn't heat the whole house.
Yeah.
But we had a little space heater and we had a lamp, and we were able to like hot pot some food, and play some cards. So we were able to. But that was one of those things. Like it was a weird storm because it had come in, it had dumped a bunch of snow, it left, jet stream shifted, and it circled back around and nailed us again. The same storm hit us twice.
see, and I remember whenever we were young too. Like, I remember one night we were playing outside. We were playing like 1, 2, 3, or tag or something like that. Like out in the dark in the street, where you lay next to a curb all in black so somebody didn't see, like hard. We used to go pretty hardcore, but like I remember a storm rolled in. It blew my buddy's dad's shed's roof off.
Oof.
Like almost up into the power lines, and like you could see the storm rotating above our entire area, like moving off, and it like died, and it was good.
Yeah.
Typical storm.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it was like that same thing. That storm had looped back and came back. We didn't get near the amount of wind, but by that time, like it had strengthened to have more like upper air flow.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And just dumped hail, like big
Yeah.
hail on us.
Yeah. Well, and I remember. I want to say this was my sophomore or junior year in high school. We had gone to. I played varsity soccer. We'd gone to I think it was Hobbs. We'd gone to play a game down there, and this was when my dad was he was an independent consultant back then, and he was there, and so he got to come watch me play. And then after we left, after the game, you take a shower, you eat dinner. By the time you get back into town, it's kind of late.
Yeah.
But this was pre-internet and pre-news traveling fast. But as we're driving in, like you could see the lightning and stuff way off at a distance, just because of how that portion of the state is designed. Like you get up on, where the Cap Rock is, but you get up on top of the Cap Rock, and you can kind of see miles.
Yep.
And so just the way that they were coming back in, we got up there and you could see all that. But by the time we got back to the high school, every single car that was in the parking lot had been beat because it had gotten hit by hail that was softball size. So probably twice the size of this.
Yeah.
And, like my parents got a new roof out of it. My car got beat up. My mom's car got beat up. And just, again, that was like 89, 90, I'm guessing, somewhere. And so as much as I like the weather around here, there are those one-offs that just absolutely beat the crap out of you.
Well, and they don't have to hit the entire town either.
No.
I mean, if you
it could be on the north side and do nothing on the south, or vice versa.
And not too terrible. Well, I guess it has been quite a long time ago now. But remember, like Grandma Debs called me and was like, "Hey,
right,
we've got some damage to the house. I don't think it's too bad." So I get over to their house, and like a third or a quarter of the roof has been peeled back.
Oh yeah, like a can opener.
And like we got some rain at my house, and we're 5 blocks away.
Yeah, well,
5 to 10 blocks,
give or take.
like not a significant distance by any means.
No,
and like
that was the night we were up on an aluminum ladder on a metal roof in the rain.
I was straddling
completely
the peak of
improperly
their
dressed.
roof,
Yeah.
trying to get tarps
Yep.
up while my boots are just filling with water.
Yep.
With cracks of lightning.
Yep.
just striking, and I'm like hugging this.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus.
Yeah, like
yeah.
We shouldn't have been up there.
No.
But like,
if OSHA was around, we would have been in all kinds of violations.
But honestly, neither of us even thought about it.
Nope.
Like, I got over there and I called you and I said, Craig, we're gonna need help.
Yeah.
So then me and you went and bought
we
tarps.
dropped. Yeah, we dropped whatever we did and we went over there and helped them. And
didn't even think about it, and then that got them by until like the next day, and they could like reinforce kind of what. We did
and we had
was out,
and they could see what was going on, and
but it was their neighbor's fence that got blown down, and then their roof got peeled back, and everybody else around them
because they got hit with a microburst
was perfectly fine.
Yeah, they got hit with a microburst, and I guess the best way to explain a microburst is like wind shear in airplanes.
Yeah,
right. Like they're trying to take off. But you just have this phenomenal downforce of air. Yeah. It's like a column of air.
It goes like that, and then
just comes down and blows out, right? And that's kind of what happens. And I think in the ocean they call them water spouts,
yep.
right? Because the same wind comes down, but because it's in the ocean, then it pulls that water back up.
Yeah. And
so you can kind of see that happening. But it
was a crazy night.
I mean, I remember that vividly because I think it was like 8 or 9 o'clock when you called me.
Yeah, it was 8 or 9, and we probably didn't.
We had to go over there and kind of assess the situation, and then we made a mad dash to Walmart to buy any tarps that we could possibly find.
Yeah. We were luckily enough to find tarps because I think we had stopped at Home Depot already, and they had just closed or something.
Yeah, right. They were just closing.
Man, it was such a mess. But like I remember hearing like loud wind, but it sounded like it was off in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my buddy Nick had the same thing when we were in Hobbs. Like, we were staying with my brother and his wife and kids. We went down there to just hang out with them. We were going to go shooting or something like that next day. And we were just chilling, and we saw that there was severe weather a severe weather alert came on the TV, and we're like,
there's nothing out there.
What the heck? Just like go out and look. Don't really see or hear anything. Go back in. Like, my brother's like, did you get that alert or whatever? I was like, yeah. Just go back out his back door. And, like, it's dead calm. And then you just hear, like, hailstones just slamming through this tree like a block away. And then you can hear this, like, they tell you, like, that freight train type sound.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that. But just far enough off that, like, it wasn't affecting the immediate things where we were.
Right. Yeah.
And sure enough, like there was a...
And that's one of the nutty things about Hobbs is how that works down there.
And I can't remember if a tornado fully dropped or if it just stayed as a funnel cloud. But yeah, like the next day there was reports of damage and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And like,
yeah.
It was crazy because it was fine one second and then just gnarly the next.
Yeah, and that's why, when I see, especially now, we talk about the change in the weather patterns, right? And you see places getting hit by tornadoes that have never had a tornado, right? Or they kind of come out of the middle of nowhere, and they're having these significant weather patterns going on, but yet nothing's happening, right?
Yeah, which we're not scientists at any means.
No.
The reasons, like, I'm a firm believer that yes, we probably do impact the world greatly.
Yeah,
but there's also evidence across the years that the Earth heats and cools.
And it resets.
Is this one of those cycles? Probably. Have we moved it forward 10, 20, 100 years? Probably.
We've exacerbated it, right?
Yeah, so, but yeah, like we get, it's crazy because even where we are, like you can see the difference in weather. Like thunderstorms hit in the middle of the night, and as a kid, I never remember that. Like
I remember occasionally, like if it was a massive storm, like it had been building up, because just the way the jet stream flows, right? Like it picks up the moisture out of the Gulf and it brings some of that stuff from the Pacific Ocean, right? Like I remember occasionally, but not like I've seen there in the last 10, 12 years.
Most of the storms I feel like that we get now, it's like 1 a.m. in the morning and you have lightning like hitting in your backyard.
Yeah.
It is just, it rattles you awake.
Yeah.
And like you would have those one-off storms like that whenever you were younger, but it was like a one-off. It wasn't
It wasn't
like
continuous.
a perpetual thing.
Yeah.
Like our storm time is like 3 to 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And now
It's shifted.
Now it's shifted to where it's 5 to whatever time of night, early in the morning.
Yeah, just
like,
whenever it feels like it's going to do
Yeah.
it. And I remember as a kid, right? Like you could almost count on the monsoon season.
Yeah.
Like because our big thing was like, oh crap, is it going to rain this afternoon to interrupt our swimming time, right? Because at that point you could only have you only had a couple options to go swim, but you'd always have to take into account like how much swimming time would you actually get in.
Yeah, because you'd go out to like bottomless lakes. You'd go out there and you would just see the clouds building over the mountains, and you're like, okay, well, by like 1 o'clock we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Because that's about the time. 2 or 3 is whenever it actually started rolling over the city.
Yeah.
And it gets even more gnarly up there than it does in the city. So.
Right. Yeah. And so I do remember that because also part of that was, can we go swimming? But two, also, I had the little landscaping business, right? So I cut grass and all that kind of stuff. And it impacted my business because I would have to wait until the next day to go back out and do it. And hope that, just come in and dump the rain and move on, and then the sun would come back out and it would kind of dry up. But there were weeks of time where we would have a storm almost every afternoon. And you'd go and cut the grass, and the grass would be so thick and so wet that it just choked the lawnmower out, and there wasn't a whole lot you could do. So.
But then if you wait, then the grass and the weeds are 20 foot high.
Right, then I'd get lost in there, and I look like instead of the children of the corn, I'm the Craig in the grass.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I remember having to get like a shovel and stuff out in the backyard and literally dig weeds up to get rid of
Get
them.
like one of those old school slings,
Yeah, exactly. That would have been handy, like the old school sickle. But yeah, it's you either cut it when it's wet or you wait and it's 72 foot high. And
yeah. And it's thick, and
that's where you push the mower down and like slowly chop at it.
Yeah, you just kind of drop it and cut. You do that rockin' cut, right?
Yep.
And then you can always tell how hot it is too, because you could feel the heat coming off the grass.
Yeah.
And that moisture that's built into the grass and the heat coming off of it, right? It's crazy how those little things like that, like you forget about, and then you start talking about it. You remember, like, oh yeah, like one of my all-time favorite smells is fresh cut grass. My wife, it would kill her.
Me as well. I mean, it is definitely allergy season. I've been struggling.
I know you've been struggle busting a little bit the last couple of days.
Benadryl and Claritin just keeping me alive.
That's
keeping me functioning.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's your. So I'm trying to remember, like there's been a couple of other like significant weather events there, right? And so we have a frame of reference, but we don't have like anything like some of these other communities get.
Yeah.
We've had floods. We've not near as much now since they built since they re-engineered the dams.
Is that the Three Rivers Dam?
Yeah, I think it's
Twin Rivers.
Twin dams, right?
Dams.
Whatever you call it. Yeah, since they re-engineered that, and like I remember, the Hondo River getting full. My friend lost his bike in there from a flash flood because we were, I don't know, 4th, 5th grade, something like that. And you at that age, you think you're invincible and nothing's gonna get you. And he got down in there with I remember he had a chrome mongoose bike with mag rims. And, like it was at that point.
Yeah.
At that point,
that's the bike.
That was the bike, right? That,
Yeah.
That's a couple $100 bike back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine what that bike would. That'd probably be an $800 or $900 bike now.
Probably.
Right. So just the economies of scale, right? And so he got down in there and he lost the bike. I'm like, dude, why are you down there in the first place? Yeah. He's like, so dared me. I said, so if he told you to jump off a bridge, would you? Would you jump off a cliff? No. So why are you going down in there? Oh, I don't know. Thought I could deal with it. Nope, you lost your bike.
The last few years, I think I've seen that Hondo run way more than I ever remember it running.
Well, I know this last summer we got a significant amount of rain.
Oh yeah.
And I told you, one of the trips driving home. I could look at I don't ever remember it being that green.
I know.
that green and that might be why you're having so many issues with the allergies
Maybe,
now.
actually.
Is
That's
all
not
the
it.
crap
Yeah.
that grew from last year, right?
I tell you, man, everybody's in shambles.
Yeah, I'm all I can say is I'm pretty glad that I don't have that kind of issue with the allergies and stuff, because I mean I have some. I'll have you and I talked about it. I may have one day out of every 2 or 3 months where I have an issue with it, but other than that, I really don't. I really don't struggle with it like you do, or the wife does, or your wife does, right?
I know. The constant 40-mile-an-hour winds on just a daily basis probably helps in that. It's the one thing the wind I just can't do.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
it messes.
As I'm getting older, it
up
has
everything.
it has a significant impact on me now.
Like I don't know, the wind, and then whenever it like mists outside, it drives me crazy.
You get that desert rain.
Yeah,
like rain.
Yeah,
like poop
just,
or get off the pot, right?
Yeah, and it's always those storms. Like it'll mist like all day long, and
Yeah.
that's all it is. It's just this pelting, like
Just annoying.
Yeah. It's like I could just imagine, like, I think it's one of the torturing things that they used to do, right? Like the
the raindrop. on
just,
your forehead.
Yeah, sit you under somewhere and just let a drop hit you. Like
Yeah.
that's how
yeah.
it makes me feel.
Growing up as a kid, that was one of the things my brother used to do. He'd sit on my stomach and pin my arms beside me and just take his finger and go. Doo, 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 doo,
Oh yeah.
Oh, you talk about absolute. You want to get somebody mad? That'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So. But
yeah.
I mean, I can remember flooding. There's been like significant hailstorms, snow. I mean, and it used to be pretty consistent, right? Like as a kid, you could always count on around Halloween, like it was going to get cold, and you'd have some sort of inclement weather that weekend. Which the last 25 years or so, it always kind of coincided with the first deer hunt.
Yeah.
Right. And so we'd get ready to go out to deer hunt. And kind of our family tradition was we'd go and watch the crosstown football game, right? Mm-hmm. on because it was always around Halloween weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Go and watch that, and then we'd get up and we'd go out and deer hunt, that Saturday, that Sunday, or whatever. And that first hunt would generally be fairly cold. And the last, I'm gonna say 5-6 years, you're out there hunting in shorts and short sleeves.
Yeah,
because it's in the 70s.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
When I started hunting, before I even started carrying a gun or anything like that, like I remember it was either I think it was my first deer hunt. My dad had a bag that he got from doing things that you're not supposed to. Smoking cigarettes. Everybody loves the miles.
Right. Oh.
Well, when you're trying to sleep in a sleeping bag rated for probably 60-degree weather.
Oh.
And it's in the teens.
Uh-huh.
Like, I just remember...
That's a rough night.
Yeah, I remember waking up in the middle of the night and being at the very bottom of that sleeping bag in, like, the fetal position, trying to stay warm. Finally, like, I couldn't take it anymore. I went and slept with my brother in his sleeping bag. It was big enough to fit two.
Yeah.
And like had the thermal on the inside and all that stuff, and I was good to go. But you're right, now, like
that marble bag would be just fine for you.
Yeah, like I would hate getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom,
right?
Because it was just miserably cold. And now, like, I get up because I sleep in the back of my truck, like in the back seat of my truck. I get up, open the door, stand on the step rail, go to the bathroom, get back in, like. And it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there chattering, waiting for my truck to warm up to get dressed in the morning. I just get up and get dressed.
Get up and go. Yeah.
Yeah, it has definitely gotten warmer.
And I kind of have a similar story with my brother. We were on I can't remember. I think it might have been a 50-mile backpack, but again, it's a throwback into the Boy Scouts, right? So, and we were somewhere, and at that point in time, right, like you would stay in a camping tent, and you would have a rain fly, and you would have a what they call a moisture barrier that's underneath the tent, right? Because you don't want to. The absolute worst thing you can be is wet and cold. and for whatever reason, I think during the process of that 50-mile backpack, we developed a hole or something in the rainfly, and it just happened to be on my side of the tent. So and it was one of those things, like it had started raining a couple hours, and then what happened is it just kind of started falling on my sleeping bag, and then it just, it soaked my entire bag. And fortunately, it was my brother in the tent, because, he was like, hey,
Let's go.
Let's go. Just come over, and we did whatever it took to make sure that we stayed warm together, because my bag, and sure enough, when we got up in the morning and was kind of squeezing out the water, like it took almost that. Unfortunately, it was like the next to the last day, so I only had one more night that I had to deal with it. But the next night or the last night on the 50-mile backpack, I think we were able to dry it out on at a campfire, and was able to do it. But that was the one and only time. And since then, anytime that I go camp, I make sure that I have a rain fly that has no holes.
Oh yeah,
because
you only make that mistake once,
right? And I want to say I was maybe 13, 12, 13. I was fairly young, and it was just one of those things. Like it just all. There's karma, right? And then there's fate, and I kind of think this was just one of those things where everything just lined up just right to wear me out that night.
But that's a good way to look at how the weather's changed, though. Like deer hunt, especially, it's I've gotten a couple of the worst sunburns I've ever had.
Right.
On deer hunt, because you don't pack sunscreen.
No, you're not planning for it, right? Like because of history, it's typically a fairly cold weekend. You plan more for wind, so you bring chapstick and that kind of stuff to protect yourself from it, more so than you do sunblock, right? Because it's or if it's going to be sunny, it might be 40, 50 degrees. Yeah. So you're wearing a long sleeve shirt, you got a hat on, so you're kind of protected anyway. Yeah. But not 75 or hell, even 80.
Yeah, because I remember you would get up in the morning and you would have your thermal socks on, if not 2 pairs, gloves, all that. At about 10 o'clock in the morning is when you would start warming up.
You start kind of shedding those layers, right?
Yeah, you start shedding your beanie and all that stuff. And now it's like, oh no, I got my short sleeve shirt on. I don't need gloves.
I got a thin hoodie and a short sleeve shirt on underneath it. And I'm not wearing thermals. I just got a single pair of boots, or a single pair of socks, and my boots, and my camo jeans or whatever it is that I'm wearing. It's completely different. So that's, and I also look at it now too, is like when spring starts kicking around. We have a tree out front that's blossoming.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But there's a lot of
all over it.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are blossoming. But the problem is I know we're going to get another freeze, and that tree's going to kill those.
I hope we don't. Our weather the past couple weeks is, the 30 one day, 70 the next, and then it's supposed to just be windy, but then the rain comes out of the woodworks, and you get rain, and then it's cold again. Yeah. It was 70 and now it's 40, and you're just like,
40 or 50 degree temperature swings. That's why we call it bipolar weather, because it's all over the place.
Weather people have a hard enough job of trying. Even with all the advancements that they've had, I feel like it's still rolling a dice and
let's say it's no, I dropped it.
And if you're wrong, right, those percentages just go down throughout the day, and you correct yourself. But especially down here, it's just
but that's the scientific method, though, right? That you look at the data and you adjust things accordingly.
Hour to hour, it's just 70, 40, rain, 60, wind.
Yeah.
More rain, 35 now. It's been 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's my thing. I don't mind it being cold, but be cold for a reason. Well, not just don't be cold just for being cold. That's stupid.
Your body,
Mother Nature fixed that.
Yeah, it's fine if your body can acclimate to it.
Right.
But when your body is just thrown in 7 different directions
within
a
shock.
few hour period, it's I don't know if I need thermals or if I need tank top. Like,
Right. I can't bring my whole. You want me to just lug the dresser with me in the truck, so
Yeah.
I can have a plethora of options to to change into if the weather's all over the place like it typically is.
Which the
here.
wife already gets mad at me because like I already overpack
Oh, me too.
just in case. But now like I even take that into consideration too. Like this time of year,
Yep.
like I need a long sleeve. Like I was gonna wear shorts today, but whenever I got up, it was 40 degrees. Like I'm like, well,
Guess I'm not wearing shorts.
I'm not gonna wear shorts today.
Yeah.
It's probably fine now because it's supposed to be like 80.
Yeah,
but
it's I don't know. My weather's not showing. It says as of I don't know what time it is right now, but as of
30 or so.
20 minutes ago, it's 72 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So
Well, even like when you picked me up from the hotel, like it was fairly decent outside.
I think it was in the 50s.
Yeah, I probably
at that
would have been
point.
fine in shorts.
Yeah.
But whenever I get up and it's 40 degrees, I'm like, well,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's not going to be 80 until 4 o'clock, and then it'll be 80 for all of 30 minutes, and then
yeah, and that's kind of one of the cool things around here is that the weather is. I don't necessarily have to wear pants unless I'm at work, right? Because that's just dress code. But when I'm
silly
home,
dress codes.
yeah. But when I'm at home, right? Like I'm normally in shorts,
Yep.
shorts, and even if it's 40 degrees, 45 degrees outside, like I know in the afternoon it's going to be warm enough that I can get out there and not have to worry about that.
Which he just confirmed. I know a lot of you people have been wondering, do we wear pants sitting at this table?
Yeah, it's not a pants off dance off over here.
It's not a pants off dance off. Yeah, we've got pants and shorts on.
Yeah, we don't just wear t-shirts and that's it, or t-shirts and a watch. But no,
Sorry to bust anybody's dreams, but
Yeah. We're not that free anymore.
No.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, different story, but not so much anymore.
And being free in somebody else's house that's family is also
Little
weird.
Yeah, little weird, just a tad inappropriate, maybe.
Yeah, just a tad.
Yeah, just a smidge.
Which is saying a lot for us.
Right, if we say it's inappropriate, it's highly inappropriate. Let's just get that on the table right now.
Yeah.
We don't generally go there unless we absolutely have to. So,
I mean, let us know what you guys think.
yeah, let us know your weather stories because by all means, we know. I mean, even just a couple of states north and kind of east of here, you guys have some nuts weather, absolutely nuts. And I know Utah gets some pretty crazy weather too.
Yeah, I'm a huge nut about it. I get excited when severe weather comes up.
Yeah.
The only time I don't get excited is when hail's involved and I
Yeah,
have
I'm
nowhere
not-
to put my truck. That's the only downfall. But like other than that, like watching tornadoes potentially move in and stuff like that is devastating as they can be because I don't want to take this as being light.
No.
Just the full power of it.
And we're getting into that time of year where they're going to be more dominant, more predominant, right? And so the weather's changing, the tornado season's coming into play. So it's we'll maybe in the bottom we'll put some tornado preparedness items.
Oh yeah.
In the description when
idea.
this video comes out, because by then depending upon kind of how our timeline works, this may be 4 or 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
But we'll try and remember to put some tornado preparedness things down there to give you some links to. And if you've had,
I'll see if I have any pictures too of some of the past storms that we've had. I don't think I have any of last year's. Like we were here last year, and and Roswell was actually getting tornadoes.
that
I remember
Roswell got lit up.
Yeah, I remember my brother in Hobbs was like, "Hey, are you guys okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm in the pool. Like, I'm chilling in the pool. Everything's great.
I'm 200 miles away to swimming pool. We're good."
He's like, "Dude, Roswell's got a tornado," and I'm like, "Oh man."
Yeah, and I remember we got on Facebook and some people had been
somebody
reporting
was
that stuff, and we were seeing that. But what's crazy is even there, as long as I lived there, right? Like Roswell proper never actually got hit.
No, it's always on the north
kinda,
or south end of town.
Yeah, it kind of skirted around, and like I know it's hit Dexter, and I know it's hit
valley.
Hagerman.
It's that valley, dude.
It's all
That
part of
low
that Pecos
spot.
Valley.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's
I don't know. Yeah, drop us some comments. Drop us some pictures.
yeah. If you have anything,
Yeah, show us some stuff that you've seen.
some crazy stuff, right? Like that's what we're all about. And so to tie in with that a little bit too, like we're still working on all of the social media platforms as well too. Like we're trying to figure out the best way to kind of handle all that stuff and look at all that. So we may at some point we may have an Instagram or we may have a Twitter, but we haven't quite gotten there yet. We're still getting our feet wet on all this stuff, but by all means, the more interaction we have, the better. Because again, to circle back to our purpose, right? Like we want to use this as a mechanism to go and be able to help people out and use some of the experiences that we've had and give you some resources, right? Because in the first episode we talked about was having some resources, right?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we also want to help out our communities. So maybe down the line, if one of these storms does debilitate something, maybe at that point we can help.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can help give back to some of that. So that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
And again too, you don't have to wait until a natural disaster hits before you can go and before you can go and help out in some way. And again, we talked about the abilities that we have, right? But the skill and if you've just got time, just give them your time.
Yep.
Because that's something that you can't ever get time back, but the benefit and how it makes you feel by donating your time, I think you'll reap that reward.
Sometimes a little blood, sweat, and tears is worth more than any sort of monetary value of something.
Any more than the financial assistance. Now, I'm not saying financial assistance is the only thing that they need, right? No, they need that power.
Unfortunately, a lot of times it is, though.
Yeah.
Like, people have to rebuild houses and stuff after some of these storms.
Absolutely. And I mean, and it's the weather has caused a significant change in the cost of rebuilding, right? And because those tornadoes hit, homeowners insurance goes up. Building supplies. Like what happened with Texas a couple of years ago.
Well, and not even just Texas, but like the ice storm that hit Texas last year, of course, was a huge deal. It depleted a lot of material.
Right.
But also there was a lot of smaller hurricanes that hit the Gulf, as well as some ice storms and stuff that hit the Gulf area. Those states where a lot of like the resin plants and stuff like for PVC and stuff are actually manufactured. Well, when those plants get shut down, that means that they have to then go in and have people work extra hours once they do get back up and running to get people's orders filled to get them on the road, which then increases costs again.
Yeah.
So I don't think until you hear about things like that, you don't even imagine.
Right.
You're just like, oh, it's an ice storm. People are going to have frozen pipes. Well, it can shut down entire factories that then shut down other things that can have a huge scale.
Yeah, and I don't want to get into the politics of what happened there. I think we all know we all know a certain politician has a certain nickname for kind of abandoning his state in their moment of need.
Yep.
And so it's just that whole thing was probably could have been better handled.
Well, no,
better prepared for.
100% it could have. Like, that happened a few years ago in Texas. And the federal government actually came in and wrote like a 200-page document or something like
about
that.
how not to do that.
And said,
how to fix it.
Hey, we're not trying to tell you how to run your state, but here's something that can help you guys prepare for the future.
Right.
And I feel like from what I've heard and know and stuff like that, it sounds like that book may have just ended up in the trash.
It very well could have.
Because a few years later, same problem, nothing. Was
not quite on the same scale, but they had issues this past winter.
Yep.
So and it's, I mean, and we're not trying to tell anybody how to live. We're not trying to tell anybody what to do, but we're trying to give them options on other ways to think about things, because it's, again, we're two schmoes having a conversation. So,
Yep, exactly.
and with that, I think we'll wrap up this segment, and we'll see you in the next.
Yep, thanks. Hey, so thanks for watching. Make sure that you go hit the like and subscribe. Make sure notifications are turned on so you get the latest videos. And remember, never stop conversating. If you want to send us topics, send those to topics@ConBroSationalists.com.